Hi there, folks. My name's NovaWing24, and welcome to my first little review of some payware aircraft in Flight Simulator 10. Now, before we get started by having a look at Iris Simulation's latest complete release, the Jabiru J160, I guess I want to quickly address a couple of things. So as you'll know from my past videos, I'm a big I normally can be found flying around in Microsoft Flight and not in FSX. And in fact, I did go on a bit of a rant once upon a time about FSX, but look, I've still got an open mind, and I have played FSX in the past, and sadly, with the impending doom of Microsoft Flight, I have resurrected my old FSX discs, and starting to have a look at mucking around with that, and yeah, just seeing some of the things that are around and some of the things that are new, because I'll tell you right now, folks, it's come a long way since I last mucked around with it. So yeah, well, what we're going to do is over the coming few weeks, we're going to start having a look at some of the things that have been kicking around in FSX, and some of the mods and stuff that have come through over the last few years. And we're going to give you a bit of my thoughts and opinions and stuff like that on them. So yeah, anyway, well that's a bit of a summary and sort of all the boring stuff out of the way. So right, excuse me, folks. So what we got here today, folks, is that we have Iris Simulation's new complete offering, the Jabiru J160. So just while we're having a bit of a whiz around the outside of the aircraft there. This aircraft in real life is what we call or our American cousins call a sports flight aircraft. In Australia, referred to as a recreational aircraft. So essentially, it falls in that category between ultralight and general aviation. So it has the recreational license is all that's required. The recreational pilot's license is all that's required to actually operate it, which essentially prerequisites for that is a normal car license, and then a few hours of flight training to get you there, and some registration fees and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, anyway. What we've got here is we've got a beautiful pack there. So the pack is available. It has been in beta for a while and is now officially released and is available as a complete pack. What we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look. So for those who haven't used FSX or maybe haven't used it for a while, or even if you are familiar with it, you may be aware of the panels that you can normally bring up using the shift keys or whatever you rebound them to. With this aircraft, and indeed with a lot, and pretty much all of the Iris Simulations aircraft, actually, they pretty much don't usually operate. So there's only one panel available for the Jabiru, which is this one here, the Aircraft Manager. Essentially what you can do with this one is that the Jabiru J160 does have a few options available. So it does have the option to have the spats covering the wheels, and so conveniently Iris have given us the option to turn them off if we so desire. So we can actually remove them. So you just simply click to modify, and it modifies the flight model in real time. It's not really doesn't really affect the flight model too much, I don't think, from what I'm mucking around with this, but yeah. So you can, if it's more for a visual aesthetic thing. You also have the option to change the propellers, so it does have either a wooden prop or a carbon fiber prop available. So we do have the option to actually change that as well. So I personally quite like flying with the carbon fiber one, so that's the one we're going to be running with today. And I do like the spats. It's just, personal preference. There you go. Cool. So yeah, that's pretty much the only panel manager. Now, as one of those things was, of course, in flight, it was a distinct lack of virtual cockpits, but in FSX they're pretty much mandatory. So what we've got is we've got a very realistic, very accurate representation of the Jabiru's control sort of interior and the office, if you will. Now this is all full functioning, so pretty much all of it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly let's fire it up, shall we? Go for a quick test flight. So what we're going to do today, folks, we're going to fire it up. So we're gonna click on our switches there. We're gonna get everything up and running. We're gonna turn our master electronics on, get our fuel pump going there. Alright, let's get everything up and running. Now, of course, so just like some of those Volvos getting around, it's a good old push to start. So there we go, and we are on. So just like in the actual aircraft, guys, this is what it is. So we've got sort of carburetor controls there. We've got our mixture controls down here as well. For some reason, I've clutch tips turned off. Wonder what happened there. Anyway, alright, then we've got our trim wheels down here. I'll zoom in on those. So we've got a trim wheel there and our parking brake just above it. So it is a fully functioning virtual cockpit here. We've got our radios and nav aid frequency tuners just along there, and we've of course got the all-important navigational aid for the 21st century. We've got our GPS there. So unlike in other FSX aircraft, you can't actually jump and pop the GPS into a separate screen. Is that a bit of an oversight? Yeah, I possibly do kind of think it is. So there you go. Alright, so before we get started, let's quickly test our control surfaces, shall we? Just a bit of easy, and just because I always love looking at the exterior view of this airplane, we're going to quickly test the control surfaces. So we've got ailerons there, elevators, and we've got our rudder going on there. So it looks like everything's free and clear. Now we're quickly going to test our flaps. So just like the aircraft, you've only got two flap settings. You've got half and then you've got full. So there we go. Alright, so we've checked to make sure that everything's working as it should. So what we're going to do is we are going to jump back in here. We're going to release our parking brakes, and we're going to start taking off. I think we're going to go for I think this weather should be about a 10-knot wind coming from the north. So what we're going to do is we're going to taxi over to runway 30, I think. By the way, folks, the airfield that we're currently taking off from is the Orbix payware. It's for Caloundra Airport. Funny enough, it also includes the Caloundra Air Museum as well, as a side note. If you've got the bob tool, the little bob kicking around, or you've got the Easy Dock sort of walking and view manager, you can actually sort of wander around. You can actually wander through a lot of these hangars and see the Air Museum over the side there. So, just while we're taxiing the airport, we'll sort of have a look through and have a look at the quality. I mean, this is a pretty damn awesome piece of kit, this airport, and look, I think I might cover off some of these sort of texture arguments I've been seeing of late around some of the forums and discussing with a few other pilots. We might deal with those a bit later on. I think we might deal with those in another episode. But look, for me, this is a pretty good investment. Like I thoroughly enjoy. It's one of the airports I regularly operate out of. This one and the one of their freeware ones, actually. The airport out at Redcliffe. So yeah, I do regularly use that. This trip to fly out. Mainly because I'm actually considering actually working towards getting my recreational pilot's license this year. Should funds be available, I'm seriously considering it. So, yeah. Anyway, so as we're taxiing along, we're going to taxi down runway 23 so we can line up on runway 30 here at Caloundra. A quick look around. So it is a pretty beautiful scenery that we've got kicking around, and typical of what it's like around the Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast around Queensland. So pretty cool there. Let's jump back into the cockpit there. So as I say, folks, like it is a very detailed and it's very good. It is a quality product. This really is. It's definitely worth the investment, I feel, especially if you're using FSX. I don't want to maybe use the right reasons, but it kind of is the right reasons of using this as actually, it's to have a bit of fun, but also to actually, to go, this is a very realistic one, so it does offer you the ability to actually sort of learn and sort of pre-learn all the fun things, especially if you are looking at going flying getting your own license and stuff like that in the future. So, as we sort of taxi along, we'll have a quick look around the cockpit again. Don't mind me, just keeping the nose wheel turning around too much. So you got your full gauges and everything. As I said, it is modelled off the real aircraft. So the attention to detail that they have been doing is quite significant and quite impressive. So first aircraft that I've ever actually bought from... Actually, no, this was actually the first aircraft I actually paid for and actually bought for FSX. Yeah, it was definitely quite impressive with this one. So what we're going to do, we're going to hold short here. We're going to make sure there's no other traffic in sight. Right, we can't see any. And we'll go ahead and line up, I think, shall we? Let's get this this beautiful little aeroplane into the air. So have a quick look at some of the flight characteristics of what is in the air. So we line up. Probably should have told you to see what I'm doing, but yeah, it's only computer generated planes we're going to be running into. Alright. So we'll set our flaps to a half for a bit of extra lift on takeoff. Now we should have our wind coming through the nose. Yep. Alright, so we'll pop the brakes on while we push the throttle forward. Everything's running nicely. Let's wind it up. Buffeting around a little bit. So that's probably one of the quite realistic things about this aircraft is the fact that it is a very light aircraft. So being able to, you are quite significantly affected by winds. So it is something to be wary of. So, we sort of take off over the trees. Some of the houses kicking around there. We're going to get a nice positive rate of climb. So she does tend to buck a little bit in some of the winds kicking around. So we're just going to climb a little bit more. And we're going to start turning left. So as I was saying before, folks, we're going to do a left traffic pattern here. And we're going to orbit back around for the airport there, just so we can line back around and you can enjoy some of this. So just see what it's like to actually fly around in. So one of the cool things, I'll just sort of digress away from the aircraft for a moment. So yeah, with some of the scenery, I mean, it is quite cool the fact that it does offer not only just the airfield but the surrounding area as well. They do actually offer and the terrain classes and actually some specific auto-gen for the auto generation of buildings and sort of scenery objects to suit the actual area around Clandra. So yes, it's a lot of nice attention to detail there. So as you can see, we're getting buffered around. If I remember my weather report that I read before I took off on this flight, we were looking around about 10 knots coming from the north, and you can really, as I was saying, you can really feel it bumping around. So from what I can gather, and people I've talked to who do actually fly the Jabiru, this is actually something that does tend to happen. So though I do feel that maybe it might be a little overstated, but the feeling you get when actually flying this aircraft is pretty damn good. It is pretty comfortable. Like, I do feel like it is something, and the advantage, as I said, for me intending to look at my recreational pilot's license near the years, that it's actually a version of the Jabiru J160 that is actually what I'll be learning to fly in, hopefully very soon. So a bit of background about Jabiru, I suppose, as well. Jabiru is an Australian company. They are based in Queensland. They actually offer their main headquarters, I believe, is in Bundaberg, I think, if I remember correctly. So we're just going to, as we just turn a base leg over the water here, looking at some of the container ships parked in the water there, as I probably try and control my turn a bit better. Buffed it around a bit. Turn base and then we'll turn final. So yeah, it is it's quite impressive. The fact that they've gone from a very, very small company to a company that actually provides sports light aircraft and recreational aircraft to a global market. They've got various different models available, and it can be customized, so it doesn't. The main difference, if you're wondering, between a recreational pilot's license and a private pilot's license is actually simply that the private pilot's license has the ability to go for a night flying endorsement. This might be a bit of a fast approach, I think. Probably shouldn't have dropped the flaps that early, but that's alright. So yeah, the main difference between a recreational pilot's license and a private pilot's license is the fact that you can have the option of being able to be upskilled into and endorsed as a night to fly at night. Which is something that you can't do as a recreational pilot. So you are limited with weight and single engine and stuff like that. So yeah, but for a little homegrown company in sunny Queensland to actually be able to become a global supplier. There are Jabirus operating all over the world, including South Africa. We've got them operating in America. We've got them operating in Europe. Throughout the UK and sort of the British Isles there, as well as, of course, being quite a bit of a favourite amongst farmers and anyone sort of living in remote areas of Australia, because they're very cheap to maintain with their Rotax engines, very cheap, quick and easy to maintain. So there you go. Alright, so we come in, about to touch down and being blown around a bit on by the tarmac there. Get our flare going on. And down we go for a nice smooth landing. Alright. Now, one of the things I did notice with this one, guys, is that for the love of all things holy, do not brake too hard in this Jabiru, or you will literally slide out all over the place. So there you go. So as I said, like it's a nice little addition, and a lot of times you find that people who fly, I was about to say play, but it's not really the right word for FSX. FSX is a bit more of a, and it's sort of successes. It's a bit more of a professionals. It's not there just for you. If you're just here for a bit of to crash and throw your stick around and dance around the sky. FSX is not really going to be for you. Stick to something. Stick to something like Hawk X or Hawks or Aerofly, something like that. Stick to something like that if you're just wanting to throw your airplane around the sky a little bit. If you're actually looking for something that can actually teach the basics and well, not just the basics, even the more advanced things. Like there is actually a very well-known flight instructor, and for the life of me, I've forgotten his name now. I do apologise, guys. I'll probably put that in the tooltips. Yeah, he does actually offer sort of the ability to do lessons as if you were actually getting your license. So you get a lot more of an experience when you're in FSX than you do over something else, some of the other ones that are kicking around. So. And of course, for those who are into their FSX and you have been looking at this and the successes to FSX, so most notably Lockheed Martin's Prepared, with the release of Prepared version 2.0, a lot of things which has now gone to DirectX 11, which is a big shift as well, which a lot of people weren't really expecting. With that one, this aircraft is fully compatible with not only FSX but also with Lockheed Martin Prepared version 1.4 and also with 2.0. So this is one of those pieces of kit which is going to be an investment for the future. So if you do take your simulation stuff a little bit more seriously than just throwing stuff around the sky, this is going to be a product worth investing in for you. So, folks, this wonderful little aircraft. It's time to just close it off as we taxi back down towards the hangars at beautiful Caloundra there. Alright, overall impressions. Okay, so look, the quality is without doubt pretty damn fantastic. There's been a lot of attention to detail paid when it comes to the cockpit. Matches the stuff you see on the company's promotional site. So yeah, it's genuine fit outs. It's actually one of some of the options you can buy. Neat little thing, being able to change some of the add-on extras that you can actually get as part of the real aircraft. So big positive there. Fly as a flying machine, absolutely fantastic, beautiful aeroplane to fly. Definitely gives you that feeling of joy and the thrill, and why so many people do look at getting into aviation. So definitely something to give you that real world feel, and especially for somebody like myself who's possibly going to be learning to fly in one of these things very shortly. Yeah, very much worth the investment there. The cons. Look, the flight model I think is for the most part good, but I question how it's behaving at in sort of windy, even slight winds. I mean, there was only a 10-knot wind, and I'm being buffeted all over the place. So I do question that a little bit. I just think that there's something not quite right. The scalar of the throttle settings are also seem to be just not quite right as well. So look, I think as a main thing, I think look, I'm going to give it 4.5 aeroplanes out of 5 for this rating. I do highly recommend it. It is a great little thing to get, and I think it's a beautiful aircraft to fly. So overall, strongly recommended. You can pick this one up from the Iris store, currently $27.99 as the official one. So alright folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we look forward to seeing you in the sky soon. Bye for now.